Welcome to the Urban Wall Street Project. I'm your host, Earl Christian III, of course. And today I have a dynamic show specifically for my families and my young people. It's a beautiful situation. We're talking about child safety. So I have a question for you. Have you ever tried to teach a child something important, but she wasn't really paying attention? Have you ever played a game with a child and noticed how much he really wants to win? Children ages 3 and up get so absorbed in this competitive board game that they don't even realize they are learning how to stay safe in today's unsafe world. Playing the Safetyville board game is a great way to spend time with your children while teaching them how to react when faced with unfamiliar situations. You too may learn some valuable safety information that will help guide your children to become more safety aware. Spin the spinner and correctly answer a safety question on each turn to advance your game piece down safety lane. Be the first player to get to school and become a safety graduate for the day. Keep playing until everyone gets to school and award the safety graduate badges. The player who finished in first place should wear the blue ribbon with pride. But watch out, those who got to school after you will try to get there first the next time. Beautiful situation. Without further ado, I want to introduce a business partner of mine who introduced me to financial literacy for more of my people who know what the Urban Wall Street's about, and that's what birthed this whole movement. I'm talking about my brother, businessman and entrepreneur, Mr. Jeffrey Brew.
How are you, sir?
I'm blessed, brother. Happy to have you here.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful situation.
Indeed.
You know, we've done some things in the past and had good times. And I'm happy to see, I do something with kids, with young producers, and the fact that, we were going to talk about one thing and you actually brought something else that's near and dear to you.
Absolutely.
It's even more impressive and even more close to me because I see some synergy happen.
Absolutely.
But Safetyville, this is a beautiful situation.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, I want to let my audience know, who is Jeffrey Brew?
Well, Jeffrey Broom, just a business owner, entrepreneur. I started off, I know you recently moved to Brooklyn, all right? I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. And I just, worked for many years in corporate America. And I read 3 good books in my life that changed my life. Number 1 was the Bible. Number 2 was Think and Grow Rich. And after that was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So after reading those books and to kind of get a little bit different understanding of what it kind of takes to get to where I wanted my life to be, I was pretty good in ball. I wasn't getting a contract.
Right.
So I understood some things about what we talked about financial literacy. And so that reading really changed my outlook on life and really what I wanted and what path I was going to take to get there and understand the difference between opportunity, business, and job. So I've been involved in businesses, been involved with so many different marketing opportunities. You and I, we made some money together in the world of marketing. And I just love communicating with people. I think that that's a gift that I've had to be able to communicate effectively and influence people, hopefully in the right direction. So, we've had a lot of fun doing it, a lot of movements, a lot of causes. And now we've also engaged in a different cause here, what you talk about with Safetyville. So we're very excited about it.
Excellent. So without further ado, let's get into it. Safetyville, a child safety game. I know it's not a new game, but I'm going to tell you, it's new to me. I've never heard of it, and I'm in schools, with the Young Producers Program, and I haven't seen it in some of the schools I'm in. So let's talk about Safetyville, the child safety game, and how you came to be involved with it.
Yeah, indeed. Well, as you guys know, there's a lot of different games that we use when we grow up. There's Monopoly, there's Connect 4, there's Scrabble, Life, Clue, different things of that nature. So this is a little bit different. It's just not a game. It's actually a safety educational tool. So as we grew up, Earl, we probably did a lot of things as children we had no business doing.
Yes, sir.
I come from the inner city. My partners and I were very excited about this because we actually control the distribution of this game. My partner's name is Mike Diadamo. I've known him for many, many years. He's also from Brooklyn. So it really doesn't move unless it comes through us. So we're truly excited. Okay. But me, growing up, a lot of things I did in the projects I probably had no business doing. And I'm sure that many of you guys had some things you probably did that you shouldn't have been doing growing up as kids. We would go over the roof. I'd be miles away playing, doing things with my friends. We messed around with elevators. We did a lot of different things as children. So this game is a little bit different. Actually, what it does, it fosters a relationship where you, as a parent, you actually sit with your children. Because we have 156 safety questions that you actually go back and forth with your children to really establish that dialogue and bring it back to a family night. A lot of people spend a lot of time talking or watching TV and reality TV shows. So we wanted something that people can actually sit with their children, gain an understanding of what are my children really thinking about these different issues regarding safety.
Yes, and it's important because I know we're going to talk about some of the elements of the game and because there's so many situations that are relevant with these children, what they're dealing with, whether it's bullying, pedophilia, child molestation, gang activity. And it's so amazing that this game touches on some of those similar topics, because with the videos that students have done through Young Producers, hit on those same topics. So it's very pleasing to see a game that's addressing these relevant and current issues that our kids are dealing with. So let's talk about this Safetyville game.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. You know, I know you dropped it in, but let's talk about
Sure.
the nuances of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why is this different than other things?
Right. What
that
makes this
we
different?
play?
Because it's more than a game.
Absolutely.
Like Scrabble's a game, and Monopoly's a game, but this is a little bit different. Let's look about what the difference in this is.
Yeah, it's important to understand what the difference is. A lot of games are just meant for recreational purposes, but we know that children, if you can formulate something in the form of a game, then they're going to have a lot of fun with it, and more importantly, the retention of it as well. So it does foster that relationship where you can actually have this dialogue with your children. So it has 156 questions. We haven't met any adult yet that can answer all these questions.
I know you got a few there for me.
I got a few for you, Earl. I definitely do. It's from ages 3 and up. And safety is just not something, you know, that you do as a proactive, as a reactive thing.
Right.
You know, safety is more than let me buy the best car seat and put it in the back of the car. Safety is something that we need to educate ourselves with all the time. And as parents that are out there, a lot of new things that are out there that they're really not aware of. So the game kind of addresses that. So we're very excited about that. So it covers 156 questions. It goes from beginner to intermediate to advanced. So it covers all age groups. I played with my mom. My mom's in the 70s. She got a lot of these things wrong. But it has fire station questions, police station questions, appropriate questions if you're in the mall. What are appropriate safety things to do when you're in the mall? Fountain and pond questions.
Excellent.
And although there might not be a lot of fountains and ponds in Brooklyn, but sometimes you travel down south, you need to know what's appropriate safety measures for those different things.
Or sometimes that major flooding can create a little
Major
urban
flooding.
pond. You know,
hurricanes and earthquakes up in New York,
a little
right?
satire in it, but that's cool. Now, before we really get into, I want to talk, the most important thing I want to talk about is that distribution. You said something.
Yes.
But I love the fact, because Urban Wall Street is about that ownership and their business and controlling it. And I really just want you to just spend a minute, because we're going to talk about the game, but just why it was really important to become the distributor of this game.
Yeah, I think that control is important when it comes down to business. And, you know, I have a new model when it comes down to creating money and revenue streams for yourself. There's 2 things that you guys want to be aware of. One thing is, number 1, how many daily transactions are going on in your business? And number 2, how much are they paying you? You know, Marriott makes a lot of money because they have a lot of daily transactions, same as Snapple. So we understood that, you know, not just marketing one thing for another entity or another group, which is nothing wrong with that, but we wanted to control the distribution. And why is that important? Because now, you know, we want to take this thing to a lot of different levels, not only from the grassroots perspective. I said, I'm from the inner city. I'm from Brooklyn, the 51st state. So I'm from the, get that Earl, 51st state. So, you know, we did it from a grassroots perspective, talking to teachers and principals, different things of that nature, but we're also going to do it not only on a micro level, but a macro level. So we wanted to go to some of the big box stores. So we're talking to the major stores that you know about. Obviously, television is another way for us to get the message that are out there. We're going to run 1,000 commercials this month, also radio. So a lot of different medias that are out there. But in order for us to do that, we had to control the asset. We had to control the distribution, because at some point in time you might have build a business where someone might want to buy you out. So we're going to move into animation and so many different things with this, but you really don't want to do that unless you know you can control the asset if you're going to put a lot of effort and energy into something. So that was key, that we worked for months to put ourselves in this position.
And that's a beautiful thing, and that's so representative of the Urban Wall Street. And
Yes,
my viewers and subscribers from around the world know that's what it's about. So now we understood why you got into, you know, the distribution, because ownership is king, and we learned that years ago. So let's talk about the game. You know, what's some of the elements and components of the game that you haven't elaborated on so far?
Sure. I'm going to just the key to this, the intellectual property with the questions.
Love it.
Which makes a world of difference. And obviously, it's a very simple game. The objective is you start at home and you got to get to school safely.
Excellent.
But in order for you to actually proceed through the game, you've got to answer the questions properly.
Okay.
So actually, it's very competitive, because obviously by default children like to win.
Right.
But in order to win, you got to learn something at the same time.
Love it.
You know, I remember playing a lot of games where we had to connect the dots and do these other different things, but we really didn't learn a lot along the way.
Right.
So
occupied.
That's occupied time, but this is time well spent, and
Yes.
it's supposed to be played with a trusted adult or a family member.
Okay.
So, you know, if the question is wrong, then the bottom line, it forces another dialogue. And that's really what we want to do.
Excellent.
We want that dialogue to really take place between the parent and the child, and not just go off and play your PlayStation or some little handheld device.
Exactly.
You know?
Beautiful.
So we're very excited about that. So
Yeah, hit me with a question.
Hit you with a question?
Over there. Let's get into it.
Okay, well, let's do that then. Well, here's a school question for you, right? And I'm going to hit you with the intermediate question.
Okay. I don't even get to start beginning. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, it says a classmate at school has threatened to hurt you or a friend. You should, A, do nothing and hope that your classmate stops bothering you or your friend. B, tell your parents and teachers. C, ask other students to help you or your friend.
I'm going to have to say B.
You going to go with B?
I'm going to go with B.
I got you. Well, you know what? Ding, ding. You won. Didn't have to call a Lifeline or you didn't have to call anybody.
Thank you. All right.
But you know what's key about that is because, we've got some partners that bullying is a huge initiative right now.
And honestly,
talk to me.
Even though I said B, I think the average kid might say C. Talk to my friends and get them to help me. But because I know your friends cannot help you the way you need it, and as a person that works in schools, and not on the regular, but I'm there enough with kids, I know talk to the adult first.
Absolutely.
That's how you solidify it and quash any problem. So excellent.
Yeah.
Give me another one. Give you
another one?
Yes,
so
sir.
Bullying is a major initiative.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that we do this. So here's the idea. If you become separated from your parents in a store, what do you need to know about your parents so an employee can help you? You should know what kind of car they drive, where they work, your parents' first and last names, and all their phone numbers.
I'm going to have to say if I'm lost inside of a store, doesn't matter what kind of car they drive because they would look for my parent in the store. I'm going to say I need to know their name, first and last name, and their telephone numbers. And I know that's so critical because so many students now don't know their parents' telephone numbers.
This is true.
Because technology, unfortunately, has dummied us all down with caller ID. But not to digress, did I get it correct?
You got it right, my brother.
There you go. Beautiful,
Indeed,
beautiful.
You're doing quite well. You're progressing through the game. But, these are little simple questions.
Yes, sir.
But you got to know the answers to these things. And, I don't know all the people in my phone, their cell phone numbers, because the facts are they're the harsh reality, right? They say that, every 10 seconds there's another child that comes up missing.
Yes.
Child abduction and just people missing is huge. So we've got to safeguard ourselves against that. And the bottom line is that children need to be forearmed. They need to be forewarned. You need to role play some of these different scenarios. So it's very important to address this and ask your children, well, what would you do? What's this one's phone number? Right. Questions in here talking about if something should happen and I'm not at home, what's the first neighbor's home that you would go to? Another question that goes in, it says, if you happen to be locked in the trunk of a car, what should you do to alert rescuers?
Wow.
So you can bang on the hood, you can yell and scream, but really the proper answer, you're supposed to kick out the taillight and put your arm out. And the reason why you say, well, wow, getting locked in the trunk of a car, well, why would that happen? Now, we've been watching a lot of movies in our life.
Yes.
I've never seen anybody kick out the taillight in a car. But it's important, though, because you might travel somewhere. A lot of times you're on the road, you see cars that are abandoned, the engine's not working. And then it really safeguards children because I remember playing hide and go seek years ago with people, and they would get in chests, they would get in old refrigerators.
Right.
And that's a dangerous situation.
Extremely dangerous. Now, give me another one, then I want to talk about another scientific aspect of this game that I think is just incredible.
Okay, well, here's a good one. And I want you to understand, there's 156 questions, and what you want to keep in mind, it goes from fire drills, how to handle police, what to put on fires in your home, how many fire drills should you have, annually in your household. But the key to is that all of these questions, either somebody's son or daughter lost their life, or was maimed or injured because they didn't know the right answer. See, as parents, we believe that we know all the answers, but it's not the ones that you know, it's the ones that you don't know, and the ones that are not reinforced.
Very true.
Let's go to this one. If a family friend, neighbor, touches you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, what should you do? A, keep it to yourself and hope that it doesn't happen again. B, tell your parents or a trusted adult immediately. C, do nothing because adults are allowed to do whatever they want.
Without question, B.
B.
And I know, unfortunately, that a lot of children will select A.
This is true.
Some might say C, but the majority will just be ashamed or afraid and just hope that, I'm not going to say anything, hopefully it won't happen again.
Right.
And that's so the wrong answer. That's so the wrong answer. My young children immediately tell someone.
Let me piggyback on what you said, because they say that some of the facts are that they say that 1 out of every 3 women in some way, shape, or form are either physically abused, verbally abused, sexually abused, by the time they get to become an adult. And we all know that it's the issues that we have as adults, what happened to us as children, or what dictate where we are as adults. So it's very important to really monitor what happens. Your son or daughter be getting bullied or someone do something inappropriate. It's important for you to know. So if you're sitting there asking this question, you want to know, has that ever happened to you? Has it ever happened to a friend? Has anybody ever made you feel uncomfortable? These are sometimes the topics that a lot of parents don't necessarily have with their children. But what this game does is it forces that platform, that dialogue, to open line of communication, which is so important, because I'm sure you know that anytime something happens to your children, you want to be the first one, not their friend, not their cousin, not their older brother or sister, but the parent wants to be the first one that they actually come to get the right kind of advice on handle those situations. So these are very crucial and very key, but very apropos for where we are right now in our time.
Without question. Now, something very important, and it's saves people's lives, changes people's lives, and it saves people's lives from a variety of perspectives, whether your life is about to be lost and through that evidence, it's freed, or through that evidence, you're not freed.
Absolutely.
So this game comes with a DNA kit.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing. So if you can just give me a little information about that DNA kit, I think that's just amazing.
Well, we understand that the Safetyville game, a lot of it is going to be for fun times. And I'll be honest with you, we've sat down with principals, professors, everybody who plays it. They actually love it because they're learning, they're with their children, and it's valuable family time. So the game has a lot to do with the children and what they do. But this, we believe, is our Kids IDs kit. A lot of this is what we want is actually for the parent because they need to keep track and know what's really going on with your children in the event that something happens. So I know, Earl, you talked about a DNA kit. It's actually even more than that, which is very, very exciting for us. Maybe I can just touch on a couple key points here. What it actually does have is it comes with, we as adults, we have ID cards, right? Something happens to me, right? Something happens to me, I have my right? So same thing for children. We want them to have an ID card.
Wow.
Not only this, an ID card, because the police department, they do a little something, but they only do about maybe 10% of the 100% that really should be done.
Wow.
On the back of the card, it actually has all their medical conditions, allergies, and emergency contact information. So let's say, God forbid, let's say you have a 10 or 11-year-old son or daughter, they're coming home from school by themselves, they have a seizure, which is possible, they get hit by a bicycle, get hit by a car, they get jumped. Next thing you know, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, this person's laying unconscious, they're 11 years old. Whose son or daughter is this?
Exactly.
Well, if they don't have any identification, I know what school they go to, but the school is closed.
Right.
So we find that the medical information is very important to have for children on the back end of this. So that's just one piece of it. There's a couple other components of it. There's an online medical alert for Amber Alert. So you actually pre-populate this, and in the event that something happens, that information is automatically uploaded to the National Center. There's ID bracelets that go along with this as well. And actually, you talked about the DNA kit. So let me just touch on that. In addition to that, there's also a power of attorney, which many people don't know that, when you leave your son or daughter with someone and they're actually babysitting them, in the event that something happens to them physically and you take them to the hospital and you're not the legal guardian or the parent, the hospital is very reluctant to treat that child because they don't want any malpractice situation.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the power of attorney, when you leave your child with someone, you say, listen, in the event that something happens, this releases medical information and gives you the authority to really have some medical procedures that are done. So the DNA kit is the last part. It actually goes through the dental record kit of your children. You're supposed to know that as well. In addition to the blood type. A lot of parents right now, if you're watching this, do you know the blood type? Number one, do you know your own blood type?
Heck, I don't know mine.
You know,
figure that out. I think it's B. It's B positive, I think.
It's B positive?
I think so.
It's okay for black?
I hope so.
So, you got to know your own blood type. These are things that we just take for granted. Now, if you don't know yours, you got to sit there and think about it. Wow, I don't know that. Do you know your children's blood type as well? So that's covered in here. And you keep this. Also, there's a fingerprint kit in here as well. You keep this. You don't have to give it to the police. They're not on file. You keep it themselves. And also there's a swab in here that you actually keep the DNA of your children. And I think that's important to know because, you got to be proactive in the event that something happens. They say that parents want closure. They want to know. And you also might want to use this to rule out the situation that it's not your son or daughter.
Right.
So this is just what responsible parents should do. And we believe that every responsible parent needs to play a game like this with their children. Every responsible parent needs to have this information where the passport information is. Now, that's responsible parents. Obviously, there's going to be irresponsible parents as well. But we would love to see everybody have an opportunity to play this game, experience with their children, and continue to go through beginner, intermediate, and all the way up to advanced. Because very simply, or what we've learned is that a lot of parents will invest in their children's future.
Right.
They will buy them maybe the best car seat.
Right.
They will buy them the best stroller. They might invest in maybe in education and $30,000, $40,000. Are you investing in their college education? But when you ask a lot of parents, have you invested over maybe $500 or $1,000 in your kid's safety? Many parents won't have the right answer to that. So safety begins not just with a conversation, but it also begins with how your children are thinking. What decisions are they making when they're not with you? We know what you read. Still don't do what our parents tell us to do, but you're going to change the thinking of your son or daughter about that. So there's questions in here even about guns. Someone has a gun and they're playing. I mean, I grew up in the inner city. I grew up in the projects.
Yes, sir.
So either we saw them or we knew people that had them. If you find a syringe when you're playing, what should you do? So it covers all these different things from the internet bullying. If you name it, it's covered. It's a great way to get on the same page with your children. So we're excited about it.
That's a beautiful situation, you know. And, you know, I think about it, you know, from a perspective of, you know, kids these days, guns, everything is a gun. And everything is death. These kids are so desensitized to everything. Now, I had a question in my head, and I wanted to ask about the game. So you got the DNA and all those components. Now, I know you're making some things that the game has been around, but you're doing some major things here in the New York and California markets. So let's talk about what you're making happen on the East Coast and the West Coast.
Yeah, again, we're pretty excited about it. I mean, when you have something on your hands that you can control and you understand the power of it, and just thinking about it, you know, it's going back to it. You know, Monopoly, Scrabble, those different things. If you had a game that you want your children to play first, what kind of game would it be? I don't know if it's Connect 4, Rubik's Cube, whatever, the game of life, Operation, I don't know. But we thought that this was something that was phenomenal. Now, I'm not, you know, secularly educated at college. You know, I have a PhD, public high school diploma. That's my PhD. So when we sit and talk to principals and different things of that nature coming from the inner city in Brooklyn, they love the concept. So we use this, Earl, as actually as a fundraiser, you know, in different places. It doesn't matter if you're in a daycare. I guarantee you, you know, your daycare, you know, kind of indemnifies you. You'll be in a better position if everybody understands what safety is in your daycare. You know, the people that played, you know, maybe in the second, third, and fourth grade will be better fifth and sixth graders as well. So we've been going grassroots. We've been talking to some phenomenal pastors. We've talked to Ms. Simone Hawkins. She's got a tremendous letter of endorsement, and it's just going to continue and continue and continue. So we've gone into tremendous amounts of schools, and I'll kind of maybe just give you an idea of some of the schools that we've actually had a chance to actually go into and start our fundraisers. And we're looking to do it in every school that we possibly can. You know, the Trey Whitfield School in Brooklyn.
Excellent.
AB, he's out there making it happen for us. MS, Middle School 354, over 250 students participating in this. PS 289, over 600 students. MS 61. We're very excited about it. This is a little bit different than candy.
Yes.
This is different than, you know, cookie dough and wrapping paper. And those are great things if you want to raise some money, but what's the long-term value of candy and cookies as opposed to what we have our hands on?
Not the safety of your teeth. So listen, I want to, before we wrap it up, I know there's a special. Now for my people, you know, the Urban Wall Street wants to be able to provide you with things and provide you with information, educate you, but entertain you. And through this specific relationship I have with my brother and something he wants to provide Urban Wall Street viewers who reach out and mention the Urban Wall Street name as a special gift. Share with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Well, very simply, for my partner, Earl, and I love Earl, I'm glad that we were just taking this journey together. And you know you're in the school, so we got a lot of things that we want to do on a joint venture. And we want to, you know, I'm looking to joint venture with you as well. If you have anything, if you're a child safety advocate, number one, everybody should be a child safety advocate. Anybody who preys upon weak people, bullies, adults, we got problems with that. We really do have challenges with that because obviously our children are our future. And if everybody does a little bit, we believe it takes a Safetyville to raise a child, not just a village, So a conscientious effort. So what we want to do is that typically the game is online, for about $40. The kit used to retail for $99. We've now dropped it down to $50. However, what we're going to do is that we're going to combine the game and that whole medical kit for individuals for $50. If you go on the email address you'll see or phone number, call our office. We're going to combine both of them for $50. If you mention Urban Wall Street. In addition to that, we've partnered up with some hotels that we're going to give you also a free vacation when you purchase that. It's going to be 3 days and 2 nights, a free vacation. And just so you guys understand, because there's people like, well, where are we going? So let me just kind of give you an idea of some of the places that you can go to: Atlantic City, Destin, Florida, the Poconos, Ocean City, Virginia Beach. We've got Orlando, Kissimmee, bunch of places in our Arkansas. I mean, you name it. These are resort type places. So for $50, we're going to do that. And you take your son or daughter away with you 3 days, 2 nights, and we're going to provide that free vacation only because you watch and participate with Urban Wall Street, and more importantly, because you chose to become a responsible parent to be proactive and protect your children in that fashion. So we're excited about it.
And that's a beautiful thing, and I definitely appreciate you, making that offer for Urban Wall Street viewers.
Absolutely.
The people are watching globally, and hopefully, this Safetyville will not just be, making safety villages in America, but in villages across the globe. I want to thank you for being on the show, Jeff. We're going to talk and do some more pager things. My people, as always, I want to bring you the best. I want to bring you the brightest. I want to inform you. I want to educate you. I want you to be aware and astute on a variety of different areas. When it comes to child safety and our children, there's nothing more important to us. They are priceless. So if you feel your child is priceless, do everything that's possible to preserve that asset. Safetyville sounds like an amazing situation. I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to introduce it to my audience. I want you to check out the game, check out the site. Mr. Broom's information will be following in the credits, so definitely continue watching and you'll catch that. As I always say, be mindful, be prosperous, keep your head up, and now, most importantly, be safe. Safety first, my children, my people. Until next time, peace. Thank you.